Hi you guys, my name is Cyan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for this week's video, I am going to be reading books that are romances with no spice. I decided to do this video because personally I'm someone who I could give or take a book with smut, and I know some people out there just might fully hate reading it and don't want to read it at all. So I thought I would try to find some good, fun recommendations for those of us who don't love smut, or maybe right now you're just not in the mood for smut. So that is what we're doing this week, and I have 6 books that I could potentially be reading. But here's the thing, I have 6 books and 5 days that I want to film this video, so I don't know if I can get to all of them. I'm actually kind of hoping that I could, because that would mean I just have to read like what, 1 1/4 of each book every day. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't know if that's realistic, but we will see. So I'm going to go through the books that we could potentially read this week. I actually don't know if all of these have no smut. I just had to kind of Google and look at other reviews and see if they do. So if one of these books has smut, either A, we'll find out together, or B, I apologize because I didn't know when I Googled it, this is what came up. So just putting that out there. But the first book we have is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. Don't know much about it. It's 2 roommates who like share a room when one isn't there. So like I guess they work opposite shifts and then just come in and out whenever the other's not there or something like that. I haven't read it, so obviously I don't know the logistics of it, but that's what I've gathered about this one. The other one I have is The Summer of Broken Wolves. This does not have smut in it, I believe, because it is YA, and I've also heard that it has a lot of Taylor Swift references, and it's still summertime, so it should be fun. Then I have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. All of her books are apparently no smut. This one seemed interesting because it's like small town, and they're also adults, which it's hard to find non-smutty books with adults. I feel like most of them are YA, and I'm not the biggest fan of YA, so that's why I wanted to find some where our characters were older, and I think this will be a good option. Then I have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I feel like this author has been getting pretty big recently, and honestly it was really hard to find if this does have any spice in it. I have no clue. This is the one where I'm really not sure, but I'm hoping not, and obviously it's gonna be a great romance for the summertime. And then we have Better Than the Movies. I know that's gonna bother some people, so I'll just cover it up right here. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This one is like one of the most talked about YA romances I've ever heard of. I just know that this is like one of the OG BookTok books. Everyone who reads it seems to love it, and it has a lot of references to rom-com movies, so if you like rom-coms, you'll probably like this one. We will see how I feel. And then lastly we have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This is another one where I think it would be fun because they are adult characters. It's supposed to not have smut. If I remember correctly, this author doesn't write smut because I heard somewhere that her husband is a teacher and she didn't want his students like reading her books and it having that in there. So if that is true, this should not have smut. So this is the lineup of books that we have. We have a lot of options to choose from. I think though I'm actually going to start off with The Bodyguard just because I feel like that's the most interesting premise, because she is the bodyguard, he is a celebrity. Yeah, I don't know, it just sounds like it might be fun, so this is definitely going to be what we're starting with today. Okay everyone, so I'm about 50% of the way through The Bodyguard. In this book we are following Hannah and Jack. Jack is a celebrity actor who has a stalker, and he ends up going home to his family in Texas and wants to stay at their ranch. So he does hire a bodyguard because of the stalker, but he doesn't want anyone to know that he has a bodyguard because he doesn't want his family there to worry about him being stalked. I feel like I have said stalked / stalker a million times already. I digress. Hannah is the bodyguard. She's going to go and pretend to be his fake girlfriend so that his family doesn't know she is actually his bodyguard. Hannah also just went through a bad breakup. She's dealing with grief from the loss of her mother, and at the same time she's a very career-driven woman, so it's not easy for her to open up to people. Usually when she has these clients, she's kind of like in and out. She doesn't really get to know them or anything like that. It's just a job to her, and once the job's done, she's done. But her and Jack are slowly getting closer to one another, and at the same time she feels like we're faking it. Like this is a fake relationship relationship, so now she definitely doesn't want to try to get closer to him. So it's like this big conundrum. Am I using that in the right sense? Probably not, but I'm sticking to my guns. That is what is happening in this book. I like it a lot so far, but the thing is like I don't particularly love either of our characters that much. Like their interactions and stuff are really fun and cute and flirty, but I don't know, I just feel like their personalities aren't anything different than what I have seen in the past. It's so hard to describe, but I am liking it. I'm enjoying it so far. It is exactly what I was expecting out of a cute, I always say a cute, fun, fast-paced romance, but that's just literally the only vocabulary that I have. Those are what all of these books are going to be like, and this one is that. It's a fun, cute, fast-paced little romance. So yeah, but I am enjoying it. I don't think it will end up being a 5-star, but I do think I would give it a high rating. We'll just have to see. I just finished reading The Bodyguard, and this book was so cute and sweet and wholesome. It is more of a slow burn, which is why the last time I talked to you I wasn't quite sure how I felt about these characters, but the more that they got to know each other, the more us as a reader got to know them as well, and I think that just added to the story a lot. I really liked it once they started opening up. Their humor is good, the banter between the two is good, and I just had such a good time. I would say that I think I'm gonna give this one a 4-star because it was so good towards the end. Like I was literally giggling. There is a little bit of like a cheesy true crime like mystery thing that kind of happens where you actually get to see Hannah in action with her job as a bodyguard, so that was a little cheesy to me. I don't know, it just, they tend to be whenever that is included in a romance. I'm sorry if you can hear someone is getting on their motorcycle at this hour. Let me just mind my own business though. Anyways, it was good. It was everything that I needed. I also just feel like most of the romances that I read do have some sort of smut or spice in them, and I was surprisingly shocked by the fact that I still really enjoyed this one even though it wasn't in there, because I'm just not used to that, if that makes sense. But like I said, I don't have to have it. That is the point of this whole video, is to find some good ones, because as we all know, sex sells, and that is why it is mostly included in romances. But anyways, that's enough of that spill. Definitely give this book a shot if you're thinking about it. I think it's cute, and I will definitely pick up some more books from Catherine Center. There you go, girlfriend. You are now probably going to be one of my auto-buy authors. Not that she cares. Anyways, now it is time to pick out our second book for the video. I don't have hopes of getting very far. I am just going to try and start it today. Not now though, probably later tonight when I go to bed. And I literally have this stack down here in my living room so that I know what I need to choose from. I'm just staring at it. You can't even tell, but I'm just staring at the stack. I still don't know. Give me a second. So after reading the back of all the books, I have finally picked out which one I want to read, and that is Better Than the Movies. I did take the sticker off, but there's still like residue, so that is really gonna bother me. Sorry if you guys can see that. I figured I just kind of have to read this one in this video because this is like a staple YA, like I mentioned earlier, classic BookTok book that everyone and their mother has already read and loves. So we're gonna give it a shot, see how I feel. I am a little bit worried. I feel like it's definitely gonna be cheesy, but we will see. I have officially made it through halfway of Better Than the Movies, and halfway point is only chapter 7. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say the chapters are very long, which is bothering me a little bit just because each chapter, right, is kind of like one scene, so it makes each of the scenes feel dragged out. I feel like I'm getting details that I don't necessarily need, and I just realized I didn't even tell you what this book is about. This book is about Wes and Liz. They have grown up next door neighbors to one another, and they've always done like little pranks and bicker back and forth with one another. other, so they don't really love each other, or at least Liz thinks that Wes is like her rival in a sense. And now it is their senior year of high school. Wes has a crush on some other kid. Honestly, is it Ethan? I feel like I'm so wrong. It can't be Ethan. Michael. I was way off. Anyways, she has a crush on this guy, Michael, who just moved back into town. He grew up with them as well, but moved away, and now he's back for their senior year. She's always had a huge crush on him, and Wes is gonna help her try to get him to be her boyfriend and to ask her to their senior prom and stuff like that. So you have like those scenes from a lot of high school romances where like they're going to the mall, shopping together. They're going to these group events with one another. They've been to a high school party. They go to a basketball game, stuff like that. And at the same time, Liz is mourning the loss of her mother. Why in romance books does someone always have to be dead? Like, always. I don't understand why that's a thing. But anyways, that's what's happening in this book. I can say I'm not absolutely loving it, which is disappointing because I know how much this book is loved by others out there. But I think, once again, it just reads a little too young for me. I really do think YA is just not my thing, so I kind of need to maybe not read YA, because then I'm just going to be disappointing myself. Like, if I know it's not my thing, I just shouldn't be reading it. But it's still not bad. I don't hate it. I just feel like there could be more going on with it. I'm gonna keep reading though. Okay everyone, so this morning I did finish up reading Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and I think I'm going to give this one a 3-star. I am realizing, as I've said multiple times, it's just the YA aspect of it all. YA is not my personal favorite, so maybe I should just step away from the genre as a whole and not read it if I'm not loving them, except for YA fantasy. That I can get behind. This, not so much. I didn't love it, but it's not bad, okay? 3 is not a bad rating. I just felt disconnected from these characters. I didn't love the way that our main character Liz interacted with other people and some of the things she would say, particularly to her stepmother, if you've read this book. But I have also never been put in that position, so I can't fully understand why she acted the way that she did. Anyways, didn't love her. I do really like Wes's character, but still, it's just all the things in here felt too young for me. Like, it's stuff that I feel like I would see in a Disney Channel movie, and I get it, that is the whole point of it. You know, you have prom, you have basketball games, all that kind of stuff, prom dress shopping, you have drama with your friends and everything, so I completely understand why it was included in this book. But yeah, this genre as a whole and this book just isn't my favorite. So after reading that, I have realized that the next book I need to read needs to be an adult one. So I decided to pick up Summer Romance. Number one, because I'm curious as to if this actually does or doesn't have smut in it. Now that I'm thinking about it, is it this author whose husband is a teacher and that's why she doesn't write smut, or is it Catherine Center? I don't know. But anyways, I think I'm going to like this one because I'm pretty sure they're adults. It's a newer book. I have never read anything from this author before, so I'm interested to see how it goes. Okay, so I want to apologize for the awful angle and lighting. Or is this kind of good? I don't know, but I'm comfortable and I'm having fun, so I'm not getting up. But I have made it 50% of the way through Summer Romance. In this book, we are following Allie and Ethan. Wasn't Ethan in another book? That was a character's name in another book, was it not? Anyways, Allie is going through a divorce. She has 2 kids, and we are seeing her divorce proceedings basically happen. They have a mediator instead of a lawyer, but Ethan is one of her best friends' brothers, so they kind of grew up together. He moved away a long time ago though, and he comes back into town and they end up forming a relationship. The thing is though, is that he is only staying in town for like the summer to help fix up and sell one of his parents' homes. So he actually lives in a city that's like 3 hours away, and with her having kids, that is an issue that they face, is long distance basically after the summer ends. So they decided to keep things kind of fun over the summer. That's all it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be anything too serious, but of course that never ends up happening in these kinds of books, now does it? Moving along though, we are also seeing Allie as she's dealing with grief once again from her mom dying. Why? Why is that always a thing? It's kind of a bummer, you know? Why couldn't there be a different storyline going on in these types of books? We'll never know. It's one of the greatest wonders of the world, isn't it? But anyways, I like it a lot so far. It did start off a little bit slow, but now that we're seeing more of the relationship develop, I am into this. I think it's good. Our main character, Allie, is a little bit of a bland character, and honestly, so is Ethan, but for some reason, it's still a good time. And like, there's not much happening, but I'm still enjoying it. I don't know. If you want like a giggling, kicking your feet, swoony type of romance, so far this isn't what this is. I would say it's more of like a slow burn romance. Even though like they are dating, it's like they're taking things very slowly, and it is very realistic. It's one of those romances where these are things that happen in real life. This is how people actually meet and start dating and stuff like that. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Yes, no, maybe. I'm just gonna keep reading, and maybe by the end of this I can form coherent sentences. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday I did finish A Summer Romance, or just Summer Romance, no A, by Annabelle Monaghan, and this was so good. It was a sweet, wholesome little romance. I like that we had some scenes with her kids, but it wasn't solely focused on her children, because I don't particularly love children in books, so that made it really good in my opinion. I also like that it was more of a slow romance in the sense that there are no grand gestures. There's not like a breakup and then running to the airport before they get on their flight. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of romance. It's very quiet and acts of service. If you like that kind of thing, I think you would like this. I love that they were adults once again, and it does have fade to black spice in it, so like you're not actually getting the spice, but you know what they just did, and it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. You didn't need the spice, but the tension building up to it and knowing what they were going to do was good. Very much so enjoyed this one. I'm going to give it 4 stars because I did really like it, and I think I found another author who I want to read more of her books, so maybe an auto by author. Maybe her and Catherine Center are where it's going to be at for me, who knows, but this was so good. Definitely recommend. Give it a shot if you haven't already. Now I need to read more of her books. But besides that, it is time to pick our next read. The next one that I have decided to pick out is When in Rome, because once again, this is one that these two are adults. It's a dynamic I've never seen. He is a baker, she is a musician, I think. Is she a singer? A pop star, something like that. I have heard a lot about this book, and people tend to love this and the second one that came after it. I'm pretty sure this one is like she wants to go to Rome, but the closest Rome to her is Rome, Kentucky, so she ends up there and running into him, something along those lines. So I don't know, we'll see how it is. It's a very, very short book, so I have a feeling I can get through this one and hopefully like it. Good morning, everyone. So I have finally made it 50% of the way through When in Rome by Sarah Adams. In this book, we are following Amelia and Noah. Amelia is a pop star. She is going on a little road trip because she's found herself in kind of a rut when it comes to her career. So she decides to take a little vacation and goes to Rome, Kentucky, because in this movie, When in Rome, I think, whatever, I don't know what it is. It's an Audrey Hepburn movie. I personally haven't seen it, but in that movie, Audrey Hepburn goes to Rome, Italy for like a holiday, so she decides to follow in her footsteps, but the closest Rome is Rome, Kentucky. She goes there and her car breaks down, so now she's going to be there for 2 weeks, and as it turns out, her car broke down in front of Noah's house. Noah is the owner of a pie shop. My dog keeps messing with the tripod. I'm so sorry. Anyways, Noah is the owner of a pie shop, and while she is staying in one of his spare rooms and her car is getting worked on, they start spending time together. She meets all of his sisters, all of the people that live in this small town. It is a very small, close-knit community. really reminds me of Bluebell and Heart of Dixie, which is kind of funny because that's the show I have been watching recently, or rewatching, shall I say, for like the third time in my entire life. It reminds me of that. It's cute, it's wholesome. I have just been very busy, so it is like a day and a half later. I haven't really been able to read that much, but I like it. I will say it feels a little insta-lovey in the sense that they are immediately attracted to one another, and their internal monologue kind of feels like it's repeatedly talking about how much they are attracted to one another, but Noah is like grumpy, so he's like, I'm not attracted to her, I can't be. And she also is like, wow, he's so grumpy, I'm a pop star, I live in another world, we can't be together. So yeah, it does feel like it's moving a little bit too fast too. Also, the fact that she is only going to be here for 2 weeks, my mind is grasping onto that, and I already know it's going to move too fast for my personal taste because I love a slow burn, but still, not bad. Exactly what I was expecting out of a book like this. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading. Hello everyone, so I did finally finish When in Rome. It did take me a lot longer than I anticipated. It is now Saturday, so I'm definitely going to be ending the video after this book. I just don't think I can read more cheesy romances at the moment, but I did enjoy this book. It wasn't one of my favorite romances because, like I kind of predicted, it did feel a little insta-lovey and a little bit too quick just because of the time period that she was stuck there. I understand why that had to happen, but still, didn't love that. Also, I just feel like the internal monologue of them always talking about how attracted they were to one another made it seem a little bit more like they were just physically attracted to each other over an emotional connection. But things that I did like is that in this book there isn't a dead parent. That is a plus because all three of the other ones there was a dead parent. Another thing is that this one was dual point of view, which the other ones were not. They were all told from the female main character's point of view. So I do like that this was dual point of view, and if you are just looking for like a cheesy, super fast read, I think this is a good one. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit burnt out of romance, so that also could be contributing to the reason why I didn't love this. I think I need to read a fantasy for sure because I'm a little over it, but still I didn't hate it. I thought it was good, and I'm gonna give it 3 stars because it is okay, you know? So there's that. Let's do a little wrap up of the books that we did read this week, because even though this last one did take longer than expected, I read 4 books. That's a lot. So I'm not going to be too harsh on myself and try to read all 6 in a week. That was a little aggressive of me. But the first book that we read was The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Now I think I'm going to read a few more of her books, and she may become an auto-buy author for me because I really did enjoy this one and the writing, and I think it was a fun, good time. Definitely something I haven't seen before where she was the bodyguard and he wasn't. Then we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This was just a little bit of a disappointment just because of how YA it is. Like, I just can't get over that. And because I've seen it before, it was a little bit boring at times. The chapters were too long, but still not a bad book. 3 stars once again. And then we also have Annabelle Monaghan's Summer Romance. This was so good in my opinion. Again, I gave this one 4 stars, and just like Catherine Center, I want to read a few more of her books because I do feel like she could potentially become another auto-buy author. Like I said, it is a quiet romance and it is geared more towards adults, so I think if you are looking for something like that, you would like it. It's definitely not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed it. And then lastly, I just talked about this. It was okay, light, fluffy, fun, nothing too serious, and it was okay. 3 stars. So those were all the books. We actually had a 4, a 3, a 4, and then a 3. So honestly, I'm not too upset about it. I enjoyed them. Let me know if you guys have more recommendations for books that are really good with no spice in them, particularly not YA. But yeah, that was that. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions if you have read any of these. But that's it from me. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!